Well, hello everyone and welcome to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. Today I'll be talking to Shaun Pascal. He's the co-founder of Black Wall Street Media, news of common interest in order to maintain unity as a family, humility and race of people, in order to inspire and rebuild our Black community. I'm so excited to talk to him because he's also a detective and he's been doing this for more than 17 years. He'll be telling us about his own life journey, why he became a detective as a Met police officer, and also struggles he had to endure, and also why more than necessary it's important that we recruit more Black young men to join the police force for them to better serve their community rather than sit at home and talk about wanting to be an inspiration, but doing and showing leading by example. Shaun has been doing this for 70 years, so this is what made me super delighted to talk to him. Meet Shaun. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. As I said in my introduction, the key issue and the key message today is all about talking about we Black people feeling comfortable out there and wanting to people representing us. We have the amazing detective Shaun Pascal. He'll be telling us about why his own journey, why he decided to become a police, and what that has taught him from what he's seen over his time. Shaun, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so glad you took the time out of your busy schedule to take and join us on this platform to talk about issues. Our issues we talk about on this platform is all everything to do with pain. And as you know, we like to emphasize matters that are so difficult for people to talk about, but we want people to know that their voices, their issues are being listened to, and there's someone out there who knows what they're feeling and they have their own strategy of ways of dealing with it. Your experience in what you do is countless, is amazing. But I won't go into all of that right now because I want people to know a little bit about who you are, who is Shah.
Okay, so I'm 47 years old. No, tell a lie. No, 48 years old. Um,
Close.
I, um, I was born in South London,
Mhm.
Southwest London. So London is my home through and through. I'm very proud of that fact. My parents are from the Caribbean. They're from Grenada. Uh, my mum was a nurse, and my dad had various different jobs. Um, so when I was growing up, in those times, for me, there was a real lack of Black role models. Um, and I felt it was very important to have role models. And when it came to the time I was going to become a father for the very first time, um, I had to think seriously about a career, and I had to think seriously about the sort of role model I wanted to be for my children. And it's very easy to sit there and say to your kids, you need to do this, you need to do that. But I feel it's something that you should try and show them to the best of your ability. And it doesn't matter what your job is, as long as you do it with integrity, and you do it with pride. So, it's always been in my DNA, I think, to be a police officer. It's something I've always wanted to do from a very early age. And I remember the first time I mentioned the idea to my mum, she was dead set against it. I was 14 years old. And of course, back then things were very different to what they are now.
Yeah.
But the feeling never went away. It was definitely a calling for me. And so I joined the Met Police in 2004, May the 3rd, 2004. And it wasn't easy for me going through training school. A young Black man who had a handful of GCSEs, didn't go on to get A levels. So but always felt that I always knew I had potential if I was given the right opportunity. Like so many young black men and so many young people. And so I worked hard. I struggled at first through training school to pass some of the exams, but there came a point where the penny dropped for me, and things started to click into place, and I started getting the marks, and I made it through. And I have to say, it was perhaps the best decision I ever made for many reasons we will probably go into, but that's me.
That is amazing, Shani. And I think what I really love is when you talked about being a true representative. I think a lot of us say it. It's almost like you say you want to be fit, you want your kids to be this, but you don't do it yourself. I have a son myself, and I try to live the best life to represent him, so him to look at and not say, "Oh, mommy, why do I have to do it?" And you're not doing it. So I think this is truly amazing that our kids need to see more of us doing what we say what we're going to do, not just saying we will do it, but also seeing it. And another thing that's really critical is that your mom at first didn't want you to go into this profession. Can you tell me why was she so concerned about it?
Because of the relationship between the police and particularly the black community, and her what she'd witnessed and her lived experiences. So you can, I could understand her hesitation um, at that time. Um, but yeah, but now she couldn't be more proud.
Yeah. To be a police officer, because a lot of people might think, oh, to be a police officer is so easy. All I need to do is just fill out the form. The training exercise might just be not too intense. Can you just describe in your own words when a young guy looking out there saying, oh my goodness, this is something I might consider doing. What is the typical training like to be a police officer?
Well, the training has changed since when I was a police officer. When I did training, I had to live at the training school for 4 months, and at that time, my daughter had just been born, so it was difficult, but we knew we had to make a sacrifice for her future, and so I moved in, and I needed to be able to focus as well. Um, so, I moved into the training school. As I said, everything apart from the sort of academic side, uh, I struggled with. I mean, sorry, so let me say that again. Yeah, it was only the academic part I struggled with. I had the right, always had the right intuition. Um, and it was always within me, but it was just sort of getting my head around answering questions and things. And right from the get-go, I failed my first three exams in one particular area, and you're only allowed to fail four, and then you're out. And there was another, I don't know, 20 something exams to go, so I was on the back foot from the very beginning. So it was intense.
Oh, so the day you got your badge and they said, oh, there you are, and congratulations, Sean, you've got your badge. Harry, how did you feel?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I have to say I did shed a tear. I did shed a few tears because the relief of getting over that hurdle. And for me, so many times I'd start to do something but never see it through. But this was the first time I'd actually achieved something to the end. So when I had the parade day and I had my uniform and my parents were there and my wife was there, it was it was yeah, I was in the clouds.
I can imagine. It's almost like it's something you knew you would get, but you just didn't know it actually would happen. And there you are. There
Yeah.
you are displaying your uniform in front of everyone. That'd be amazing. But let's get down to the real subject of being a police officer in the UK. There's so much issue. Like when we read here, we say Met a police officer told 40 to recruit 40% of BAME, the Black ethnic minority group, to encourage more people to be in there. But I was listening to one of your conversation. You're not even too keen on just recruiting. You're also keen on teaching. Your focus is just not. We don't need to just recruit. You're also keen on that. London is very diverse. England is very diverse. Let's teach. Could you explain that to me? What you mean by that?
Okay, so all right. Firstly, my role in the Met Police is I supervise a team of outreach leads that across London that recruit from Black and ethnic minority officers. So I'm right in the thick of that recruitment process and shaping what it looks like. Um, so um, and when I talk about education, I talk about the history of policing and particularly the Black community, and the history going back to the 50s, the Windrush era, and 1958 when the murder of Kelso Cochrane um, in Notting Hill, and how that led to the Race Relations Act of 1968, and so on and so forth. So that history is very important for all officers, not just Black officers, for all officers to understand where this lack of trust has stemmed from in the UK. So, that's important. But the recruitment part, it is important that we have officers that look like us and that represent us and that understand uh, us as a people, and know how to communicate with us as well, um, on a level. But it's also important we look at retention and how we keep these officers uh, in the police service, and ensure that they excel to the heights we want them to excel to. So we have a voice at the table.
That's true. So that's always missing is that voice to someone who has heard something from the community, but taking that message they've heard from the community to relay that, this is the way of community, this is the way of life. If you ask, because you've been on the streets, you've seen a lot of young Black men, what is the challenge with communicating with police, and why are they so scared of police officers?
As I said, it's down to trust at the end of the day. When you see things happening, in the media, and you don't see any consequence or accountability, you question. Um, you question the authorities, and you question their, I guess, their integrity. Um, and that's where it's important that we have that transparency. Um, so I totally understand where young people are coming from. They get stopped and searched, and um, because of racial profiling, and the media hasn't helped with that in how they portray Black people, or people of color, not just in this country but around the world. Because all you in the past, what you've seen is people of color linked to criminality. Um, what I try and put out there is to show that that's not who we are. We are doctors and lawyers and MPs, and that has always been our heritage, regardless of what is put out there. And yeah, so it's important we rewrite the narrative, as they say.
So are you seeing, because you are leading this change, are you seeing lots of changes being taking place, and what is your role in continuing that effort to make change and recruit more Black police officers?
Okay, so I kind of see one of the things that's important to me, when I became a police officer was that I could see things from all perspectives, not just my own, because I think we often get consumed with our own perspective and without actually listening to what the other person has to say. Whether or not you agree with it, that's fine, but we should still take the time to listen and take on board what they're saying. And when I started doing that, I began to realize that actually a lot of us want the same thing, and a lot of us share the same values, and but we're all pulling from different directions. And so, what I try, what I've tried to do inside the Met Police organization is just try and get everyone working cohesively. I don't feel we can stand up for one issue, for example, race, without standing up for women's rights or LGBTQ rights or an Asian person's rights, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. Um, and especially being a police officer, you take an oath to protect and serve everyone. So it's I always try and remind my colleagues what we're there to do and the promise we've made. Um, and whether or not we agree or disagree, we still have to. It's on us to really take the lead and find solutions. Um, so yeah.
Oh, no, absolutely. A young guy listening out there now would be asking himself, what if, because this is also you teaching us, a young guy is just being stopped and he's just walking back home, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden he's been stopped and searching, doing all this, and probably been arrested. What advice would you give that young kid who's just gone through that process on how to deal with that situation that's just happened to him? How he can go ahead and report it if he feels he's being treated unfairly, and what does he do to get people aware of his unfair situation?
Okay, so in the past, what I've seen young people do is firstly, never rise to the situation, always remain calm, because at the end of the day, you have the power, you know, so you must not react to uh, what how you're being treated. I know it's very, very difficult, especially when you're getting stopped and searched all the time. It's easy for me to sit here and say that, but it's something you really need to work on. Is how you react to situations, because that um, in some cases, I'm not saying all, in some cases, whoever you're dealing with, you don't want to play into that person's hands. Um, as going further, if you find yourself in that situation and you do end up getting arrested and you're not happy, you know, um, get legal advice, um, go through the process, don't give up is my message. Find other ways to get your point across. Um, Go through your MPs, you know, and all I would say is don't give up, keep pushing, and just find other ways to get your point out there, um, and and you will succeed. Um, and it's only by doing that we will get somewhere, and I often say to people, um, we may not see or reap the rewards of what we're doing now. It might be the next generation, but we have to keep pushing and questioning, and doing what we can to um, in order for progress to happen.
I like what you said. Don't give up. I mean, don't be aggressive. Don't fall into that trap of whatever the circumstances is, because you can make matters worse. but be composed and keep going and
Yeah,
keep everything behind the scene to make sure things are working, like contacting your MP, writing letters, and let people know what's going on as well. You're
absolutely.
you're sort of founder of a Black Wall Street Media. Why did you set up this platform to educate people?
Um, I felt it for many reasons, really. I felt that we didn't have a media tool to tap into the community, the diverse community. The closest thing we had was the Voice newspaper, but we have no way of actually reaching everyone. Um, so that was one reason. The other reason was I found that so many people were doing really good things in the community, but they were working in silo. So I felt it was important that I build a platform where we can see what each other is doing and collaborate and pull our resources together so we can work more effectively. Um, and and also to make sure that we're all on the same page as well. Um, so it was, in my role as being a detective, um, one thing you have to be is organized. So um, so that's what I felt needed doing amongst us. I just needed things in order and to be organized. But going forward, um, I have big plans for the platform, because the platform is more about it's more about the next generation. It's not about me. And I'm hoping if the platform goes in the right direction, it will be a it will be able to provide opportunities for people from underrepresented backgrounds, jobs, opportunities, showcase their talent. And if it becomes profitable, what I'd like to see is that money go back into the community to help initiatives and projects that often rely on government funding so they can become self-sufficient. So it's we all know the effects media can have. Um, I thought it was about time that we had something to counter what was out there and also rewrite the narrative.
Okay, our final question now is all about the hope for the future. As a detective, you've been doing this for a very long time. You've been in the police sector. You've seen it. You've seen all the crimes that's happened. You've seen all the negative that's happened to Black people. What would be your hope for the young Black men and women out there for them to be inspired? What would what would your message be to a young Black woman and man?
Um, my message would be to young Black women and men is that don't read into the narrative that has been put out there. You are kings and queens. You are brilliant human beings. You're talented, and you've got so much to offer. Don't waste it. Absolutely, don't waste it. Don't learn from other people's mistakes, um, and don't go down the same roads. Work on yourself, and just set yourself some goals. And it doesn't, stop chasing money for a start. Stop chasing money because it's not about that. It's about what you can contribute to society. Um, and whatever you do, do it well. So that would be my message. And and just to answer an earlier question, I don't think I answered properly in regards to the changes in the Met Police. Um, Hand on heart, they are really trying.
Yes.
They are listening. Um, they don't always get it right. We still don't always get it right, but I feel that we are going in the right direction. I feel like I am at last being heard. along with my colleagues. And they understand the importance of getting things right and changing things, because the world sees the Met Police as the best police service in the world. Therefore, it's important that they get this right and set a blueprint one. And they understand that. I've made that clear to them. It hasn't always been easy, but we're going to keep pushing, and we're going, and it's not just me. It's not just Black people in the organisation. It's all the different backgrounds that are pushing, because we, as I said, we've all realised we all want the same thing. So yeah.
No, I agree. With my end, when I think of the Met Police, I think they are now embracing the different cultures. Then when you see cars around, you see the black man in the car as well, not just all two white men. So you see, and you know they're listening because you see different flyers that talk about the BMA, and they talk openly about it. They're no longer shy. The media is also picking up. There's some very, very positive news from the Met Police on what work they're doing. Obviously, more and more needs to be done, but that will not happen overnight. It only takes people like yourself, Shaun, to keep making that difference in what we're doing, in what the Met Police is doing to integrate Black people and to integrate our culture. This is why I'm really grateful for you being there, for your time, because I think without people like yourself, the young Black man would be still afraid to go on and pursue policing as a career. They'll probably be thinking, is that worth doing? But not realizing that you being there, you're also representing, and you are adding numbers as well, and making a huge difference to the community. Because when the community sees you, they feel relaxed and more, and you understand. Because I want to say that because I mean, you said you're from Jamaica, right? Yeah.
My parents from Grenada.
Grenada, right? And just imagine if you turn up at your mom's house, for example, someone like you as a Met officer turns up to your mom's house, you understand why certain things are happening in that household because you understand their culture. So you understand how to approach those situations. Because I'm originally from Nigeria, and I know when a Met officer comes in, or someone comes into our house and to my mom's house, and the person comes in and one of the officers from Nigeria, I could see there's a different side of them understanding. How do I get information out of her? Because the person understands how to talk to my mother. Do you get
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. Yeah. When you grow up in a, I've grown up in a, London, multicultural. So, I feel quite comfortable going to a Turkish family or an African family or Indian family, because it's normal to me. I've grown up around these communities, and that's why it's so important that we have people that understand the communities they serve, and to these young Black men and women who are thinking about joining police. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy. It's a difficult job, but but we need you. We your community, more importantly, your community needs you. And what better way of serving your community than joining the police?
Wow. Thank you so much, Shaun Pascal, for your time today. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope this will inspire more young guys and women to join this community and join the police force as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.